Well, this was a breath of fresh air. So I recently watched this film titled Ojukokoro. I think that's how it's pronounced. Greed, I believe. I think this is now my favorite Nollywood film. So first off, Ojukokoro slash Greed is just like the perfect freaking title for this film because it's rare in Hollywood to find a film title that so perfectly encapsulates the themes the film is centered on. Probably because a lot of Nollywood movies don't have very original themes. So if we're doing that with all our films, we probably have like 700 films with the same title. Yeah, it was a really good title for the film, especially once you go into it, and it takes time for it to figure out what exactly it's about, but once it does that, it works very well. The story feels very original because it is compared to what we usually get. Its structure is very similar to the setup, but I hate the setup. An absolute freaking disaster it was. They tried to be very clever and ended up really like playing themselves in the end. So no, we don't talk about that movie here. Sadly, because Adesua was in it. I love Adesua. But whatever. This film features almost everything that the setup did wrong and then does it decently, properly, sometimes perfectly. So, let's get right into the review. Dialogue in this film is very believably written. First off, no unnecessary accents. I love whoever directed these actors. No unnecessary accents is something I will always appreciate in a Nigerian film, especially. I can't speak for other Africans because I don't know their own accents, so I don't know when they are faking whatever they're faking. But like, no accents in a Nigerian film is a rare feat for God knows why. It made the dialogue feel largely more believable. A lot of times, the humor sucks and kind of messes with how compelling dialogue is, but most of the dialogue is very believable, especially because of how they incorporated. I think at the point they were speaking Hausa, Yoruba, Pidgin English, obviously, and then like regular Nigerian accent English. So it was a really nice one, dialogue-wise. The interaction between the characters felt really organic, also, like pretty much all the time. Now, I think the narration, which luckily was not consistent throughout the story, I think the narration was very weird and unnecessary. But like I said, it wasn't consistent throughout the film. Then the introduction slash setup was also weird. It was jarring. Yeah, so I was a bit confused at some points when the film first started. But as it picks up, things take better shape and get clearer and everything. The approach of taking us back through each character's individual journey to build up to the climax was brilliantly done, and that was primarily where the setup failed because the setup pretty much tried to do the exact same thing, but each individual's story had too many moving parts and featured too many of the other characters, so it just became this like muddled mess. Here was very clear when you are following, and like having it like broken into parts more or less the same way Zack Snyder's Justice League was broken into parts just gave it a better defined structure compared to the setup, and it works really well for the narrative of the story and really adds a lot more weight and dramatic tension to the climax when it eventually reaches. Then the performances were just like so. It ranged from like really good to typical Nollywood crap. A lot of times performances were part of what ruined the comedy. The jokes themselves were terrible, but then the performances, the overacting made it worse a lot. Maybe not a lot, but like sometimes. And then like despite all of that, Wale is an absolute freaking beast. I love how he seems to be the one of the few actors in Nollywood that actually has range, so he can play a diverse array or range of characters, and I really love that. I loved him here. He was crazy in all the best ways, and in a lot of ways rarely seen in Nollywood films. Tope Tedela, I have no idea how that name is pronounced. That's his surname is pronounced. He played a. I don't want to spoil the film in case you haven't seen it, but his character was also very well portrayed by him. I think he had a really compelling performance as well. Then Afeez Oyetoro. I don't know why, but in my head that guy's name is Saraki for some reason. Yeah, he came to like do his usual thing in the film, and it usually pisses me off a lot, but it didn't get in the way too much here. So there were moments where it was actually like amusing to see, and then other times it was just, oh well, roll your eyes and move on with your life, right? That's what Nollywood always wants us to do. Then the production was just there, really. Soundtrack is forgettable, cinematography is clumsy, but it doesn't get in the way too much. I mean, there's a lot of room for improvements production wise. The filming, the lighting, everything, they were just enough just good enough that it's not constantly annoying you how bad it is. But then there's still a lot that could be done better. But like I said, it doesn't get in the way, so we'll leave that aside. Overall, like I said, this is quite possibly my new favorite Nollywood film. It seems stories that are not centered around wealthy people digest better with me, let's say, because I feel like I've talked about this too much, so you get my points. Yes, as for my rating, this film is easily a second class offer. Wish it could be higher, but limitations of the country, let's say. So we've come to the end of yet another video. Thanks for watching my review of Ojukokoro. I feel like my Yoruba pronunciations are getting better. Anyways, that's beside the point. If you've seen the film, let me know what you think about it in the comments. If you haven't, you should probably go and see it and come back and let me know what you think about it in the comments. Leave a like, share with your friends. Be sure to hit that subscribe button and notification bell so you get notified every time I release a new video. Yes, I didn't mess that up this time. See you next time. Peace.